But digressing, let's get to the news of the day, Gary. Let's sort of break down in aspect and in parts this article from Thomas Hauser on Boxing Scene, what's happening with DAZN Part 1. And most of it is stuff that we've known, stuff that we've discussed on the show ad nauseum, stuff that I've written in my own article. Check out mixedcombatradio.com. So, again, not super expansive in terms of knowledge, but there are, in my opinion, two things that we can find out or that we know now from this article, differing subjects, so to speak, but under the DAZN umbrella. One is obviously the DAZN ownership or part ownership of Matchroom Boxing. Around, it's actually, I think it's specifically 40% Matchroom Boxing LLC, their USA holding, though specifically it's not their Matchroom Boxing USA Limited England holdings and country of incorporation. They only own the USA portion of their incorporation. Just want to make that distinction. I don't know if it's a significant one. Just want to make that distinction. So, Gary, we now know that DAZN has some percentage ownership and investment of Golden Boy, obviously through the whole Canelo Golden Boy fiasco. We found that information out. Now we know that DAZN has a 40% ownership of the USA Incorporation. Thoughts on DAZN buying?
Well, we don't know that it's a 40% stake. We are assuming that, but I think that's a large assumption to think that they own everything that
Well, Thomas Hauser's reporting that it's 40%, and then this separate piece came out that was a financial document detailing their holdings and percentage of shareholders. So these are two separate sort of pieces of evidence that corroborate each other. That's what a lot of people are saying.
Okay, because I thought that was Thomas Hauser's assumption, which means that no one else, no billionaire, no rich guy owns any part of this, which I thought was probably not the case. But if there's two reports saying that it's true, then it's probably true. So now I have to amend my talking points because there's been corroborating evidence. But okay, then Matchroom, then DAZN owns everything else in Matchroom, which is a lot of money.
And quickly, let me try to find it very fast. Chris Williamson, also a Boxing Scene, was the one that corroborated the 40% mark.
This is just Matchroom USA, right?
Yes, they're English incorporations, which are obviously you have darts, snooker, you have those divisions of Matchroom, completely separate. I think Sky has some ownership of those. They only own around 56% of the World Snooker Holding Limited, Professional Darts Competition Limited. They own around 56%. But their Matchroom Boxing Limited, which is incorporated in England, and their Matchroom Boxing USA Limited, incorporated in England, they own 100%. Their Matchroom Boxing LLC incorporation in the United States, they own 60%. But also, just want to briefly get to this, Matchroom's revenue and operating margin, Chris Williamson reporting that their boxing division made £4.9 million in profit or on a turnover of £69 million year ended in June 2018. So that means out of a total gross profit of $69 million, they made a net profit of $4.9 million. Gary, back to you.
Matchroom USA is still based in England, even though its name is whatever it is. Matchroom USA is still an English.
Well, that's where I do want like a follow up here, because this is getting reported as Matchroom Boxing USA, DAZN owns 40%, but specifically in this financial document, it says Matchroom Boxing USA, what's it be limited? I'll go back to it really fast. It's also in the group chat if you want to see it, Gary, if you want to see it personally. In the topics part. World Boxing USA Limited, which is incorporated in England, they own 100% of the shares. And then Matchroom Boxing LLC, which is incorporated in, obviously, the USA, they own 60%. Now, I don't understand the distinction between those two in terms of what's a subsidiary of the other. I don't know. I need more information about that. Also, a little more information about the profit margins to understand really if that's a good number or not.
Because that confused me was I thought that Matchroom Boxing USA was its own LLC based in the US, which means it wouldn't have to release any of that information. It could if it wanted to, but why would it want to, right? I don't know the laws in the UK. I know in the US, you don't have to release it unless you're publicly traded. If you're a publicly owned company, you don't need to release your financials to anyone, right?
Yes.
Publicly traded companies. So that's why I thought it was weird that they would release those things voluntarily unless they somehow got leaked. But I guess the UK, I don't know, maybe someone in the UK chat can help me. Are privately held companies required to release their financial information?
I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't either. Because we're Mixed Combat LLC. I don't have to disclose anything to you guys, even Gary. But I a couple things of this to sort of bring it back to the center of the discussion. So what are your thoughts based on this? Because I'll be honest, sort of my opinion about this, I'm not too surprised by this. Also, I don't think it's a negative. I think it's just an influx of cash and investment. Plus, it means that DAZN is hopefully more invested into boxing long term because they have ownership of two major promotional companies in boxing. So I think this is actually
one major and one little picky thing on the side.
Well, but one has Canelo, so I mean that instantly raises that promotional company to a major status.
Yeah.
But I mean, we can say this for at least the next 5 years or so, they seem locked in for boxing and in a significant way. That's a positive. My window of doom and gloom for the recession is pushing a little bit farther back, but I do want to see Thomas Hauser's part 2 because he's going to talk more about the investment side of it and how that is more of a concern than their boxing content being worth the price. But Gary, back to you. Thoughts on overall, is this a good thing? Is this a bad thing? Is that even not the discussion we should be having? Thoughts?
It's a good thing. Like you said, they've shown that they're interested in boxing big picture wise for years to come. So that's good for people like us. Is it good for their bottom line? I have no idea. Right?
Quickly, Matthew D'Souza, and you can look it up on Companies House. It's public information in the UK. I'm going to do some research after the show now. A little bit Googling. Back to you, Gary.
Yeah, it's good news for us. Is it good for DAZN's bottom line? I guess they have an idea or numbers that tell them that it is, but I mean, that's something we're going to have to wait and see. It seems to me that college football, go get the Pac-12 games, would be a better investment of your money. We're talking boxing is a really niche sport, but they seem to have a commitment to it. I don't know how they grow it without acquiring one of the other major sports, but for now, we're going to keep getting boxing.
Especially when we see Matchroom's profit margin is £4 million a year, and you're looking at expenditures for DAZN, which is now a part owner of Matchroom, rising significantly. Payouts, expenditures for Matchroom have risen exponentially. Think about how many different regions they've expanded to in the last 18 months. That's an expense. Like you said, is it sustainable long term? Whatever you define long term is, I highly question. But at least in the short term, there is a deep investment into the sport. And we talked about this before. It's because it was an easy buy-in. Boxing is so fragmented and so loose in terms of organization that any network can come in and upset the apple carts and really upset the balance of the industry because it is so fragmented in that way. And because, I mean, let's be honest here, all these promoters, I think, are, to a degree, always looking for a cash infusion. And DAZN was the biggest cash infusion in town. So I'm not surprised these promoters are locking up with some sort of ownership deal with DAZN. Gary?
I agree with everything you said. Matchroom is in good shape. Matchroom USA is in good shape for now. DAZN has plenty of cash on hand. So it's not going to be a problem in the short term. Mm-hmm. It seems to me DAZN is so far happy with the results it's gotten in the U.S. So I guess that's a good sign. I don't know what their expectations were. To me, the numbers seem good. I just feel like, and you guys in the chat, let me know, do you think most of your fight fans, most of your boxing fans, friends already have DAZN? And if so, like, how do they grow from here without acquiring one of the other sports? Like, how do I get more people eyes on boxing if I don't acquire basketball or football or baseball? I know they have a baseball package, but no baseball fans are buying it just for the package. How do they grow if they already have a large portion of the hardcore fight fans? Where's the growth coming from? Like, I feel like, you may add some viewers here, you may get some there, but like the nuts and bolts is I don't see how you grow, right? Mm-hmm. Boxing is a niche sport. How do you grow that audience? I mean, like, if you've been growing at whatever rate over the last, what's it been, 14 months now, 15 months?
Yeah, give or take.
Okay, if you like the growth, how do you sustain that growth when you already have a chokehold on that niche market, right? Because I feel like most of my friends who watch boxing have DAZN now.
I'll be honest, for a lot of my friends that kind of watch boxing, they just ask for my password and information. Like, there's at least 5 other people I know that have my password and use my DAZN account. And quickly, I mean, people always bring up like other countries, and when me and Gary are often talking about DAZN, we are isolating it only to the U.S. market. I feel like we always need to drill that in our listeners' heads, that, like, yes, we understand that DAZN is highly successful in Germany, Japan, especially Japan, but that is not what we're talking about here. We're not in Japan. We're not Japanese reporters. We don't cover the Japanese market. So therefore, that's not our pure view of discussion. It's just not. It's not within that. Okay? What is DAZN US, USA. And eventually when they go to the UK, because we cover so many UK topics, that'll be part of the discussion as well. But it's mainly a US conversation, not even a Canadian conversation. Like, we rarely talk about DAZN Canada because it's successful there. It has a lot of properties in Canada, as the NFL, I want to say, in Canada as well. So that's not at all the issue. And that is not, when we talk about DAZN crumbling, it's only within the U.S. market. It's not that we're saying DAZN is going to crumble in every market because they failed in the U.S. That's not what we're saying. That would be a very ignorant thing to say. We're saying that, can they be successful and make it in this market? That's a very different thing. Because they can thrive and be a market leader in Japan and Germany and Italy and Spain and Mexico and Canada, but not be one in the U.S. And that's fine. But that might be a reality, because it is one right now, that they're not a market leader. They're just not. Gary?
Agreed. I mainly agree with everything he said.
Dwayne in the chat with the super chat. Thank you, Dwayne. Saying Hearn said on Chris Manning's podcast that DAZN should charge $50 a month. Thoughts, guys? I cut my subscription if it ever cost that much. First off, obviously, I mean, if you still want the content legally and you don't want to deal with illegal streams, the year subscription will still be there. But out of a pure principle status, I kind of agree with you, Dwayne. Like, fucking $50 a month.
I know.
I mean, I get the concept that you're making the month be the pay-per-view for like a Canelo fight, right? I get the concept, but they're still thinking of DAZN as a network, as a TV network. And it isn't. It's an OTT service. You have to compare it to the Netflixes of the world, the Disney Plus of the world, the Hulus of the world. You have to compare it to the Amazon Primes of the world. You have to compare it to those things, not a TV network. So with the TV network, you have so much content, even like Sky. I know Sky is a lot per month as well. I think that's around like 50, 60 pounds per month. But you get so much content within the Sky sort of package, the TV package, that it might be acceptable for that cost. Some might not argue that. That's fine. But for DAZN, they're not that. They're a very small, limited OTT service that is compared to other OTT services. Therefore, the market standard for those prices per month is a certain average. And DAZN is already above that average at $20 per month. So to go even farther, to double that or triple that, would be so harmful to the casual subscribing audience that you would do more harm than good. The thought of getting more people long-term in the year, I think, will backfire 100%. And I think there's a reason you only have Eddie Hearn out there saying it and not DAZN. Because DAZN knows they can't go out there and publicly say, oh, yeah, we're going to go from $20 to $50 a month. There's no way they would say that. They would lose so much business and get so much bad PR that would hurt them long-term. Just the PR would hurt them long-term. So, Gary, thoughts on Eddie Hearn's recent comments? And I feel like he's made those comments for a while now, too. This isn't new.
I've heard good ideas. I've heard bad ideas. I know the difference. This is a truly awful idea. This is one of the worst ideas I've ever. $50 a month. I don't pay $50 a month for the NBA League Pass, which gives me every single game in the country every single night. And you want people to pay $50 a month in the U.S. for fights one night a week. Most of them aren't any good. I mean, look, I watch them, but like most people don't watch your cards, your next gen cards in the U.S. Sorry. Everyone will drop it. I may drop it at $50 a month. Right, like if they went to $50 a month, they'd at least double the annual subscription too, right? So that would go from 100 to 200. They're not going to keep that at 100, you know what I'm saying, and go to $50 a month for the monthly plan. This is like the dumbest thing. I know he's baiting and he's trying to get a response, but it's like it's so dumb that it doesn't even warrant a conversation, right? It's like. If you went in a negotiation, Matt, and they offered you $100,000, and you said, "I want $30 million guaranteed every year," it's like, okay, the discussion's over, right? We're done. Okay, you can leave. You're not being serious. You're not being an adult. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, $50 a month is insane. Like, it's the dumbest. If you gave me the NBA package with it, you gave me the NFL package with it. Okay, now we have something to talk about. If you gave me 5 NFL games a week, you gave me 10 NBA games and 10 MLB games a week, and then now we have something here. That's still way overpriced, but like you're in the ballpark now. $50 a month to watch Canelo fight twice a year, to watch AJ fight twice a year, and a bunch of fights the average fight fan doesn't watch. I mean, that's a joke.
Yeah, I mean, I thought I might have ranted on that, but you kind of took my rant. I'm good, Gary. Like maybe because I like exercised this morning, so like not as pent up. I'm good right now. I'm all calm. I don't think this happens though. I'll be honest. I don't think that happens at all. That we get to $50.
Not only is this not going to happen, the guy who came up with that idea can go grab a box and put everything in his office in the box and leave. He's not welcomed here anymore. He can go home. We can replace him. Like, that is the worst idea I've ever heard. And you're fired if you even think about it. $50 a month for fights that no one watches? You won't have a single subscriber left. I mean, there's a point. And at $20 a month, you really reached your max. Right? Like, you should be thinking of going the other way. I just got Disney Plus. What is it, like $7.99 a month?
Yeah.
It's got everything on it. Like, you can't even go through it. There's so much. And I like the zone. I like the app. But, like, if I said, I'm going to give you a burger, it's a really good burger. How much is it? $300. Are you still going to take the burger? No, because it's not worth it, right? Like, we have to be reasonable here. You can't look at what everyone else is giving me for $5, $7, $10 a month and say, I'm going to charge $50 for less content.
It's like that. What's that steak called? Where it's like $60 a steak. Fuck that steak. Too much money. Steven saying none of you guys buy DAZN apparently, so no issue here. We all have DAZN.
We all have DAZN.
We all got it since day one. I mean, we're all hardcore fans, and I mean, I'm a reporter. Gary's a pundit. Like, this is what we do. So of course we watch and consume DAZN content.
I just went on a tangent on how I stream every single fight and watch every single fight. That's even on the streaming apps, of the undercards, right? Like every fight, and then they go, no one has DAZN. We all have DAZN.
Oh, maybe they thought you like streaming as like illegal streaming.
Oh, okay.
Maybe that's what they thought.
We all have DAZN. Yes. Matt has it. I have it. Foo has it. Unfortunately, I'm not gonna say unfortunately. I like the app. It's just
Rob unfortunately doesn't have it though. You know,
because he can't.
Because he can't. He can't. He would though. He would. Trust me.
I think he does. I think he just gives him $20 a month. Here's my charitable donation.
He gets a VPN. just to pay for DAZN. Oh, that'd be hilarious. Anyways, any other thoughts about the DAZN ownership of Matchroom? Like I don't think it's or the DAZN topic overall. I feel like it's been a topic lately in the news cycle.
I think we've touched on. I think we agree on most things.
And plus, we've talked about it for a lot of shows. Like we've been on this beat for is DAZN successful right now for a while. We've been on it before anyone else. I don't know if that's true, but I'm going to say that. One other piece of news that we got from this.